afternoon. I'm Carolyn Andrews, and it is such a pleasure to be with you. I want to say thank you to IEEE and WIE for giving us all this opportunity to learn and grow. I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about me, and also to talk about what it takes to become a leader. And the reason I'm going to share a bit about me is just so you know where I come from and what I have to offer you. And I look forward at the end to some great questions and answers. So take some notes and write down some questions for me. So to tell you a little bit about me, my name is Carolyn Andrews. My business is Inspired Leaders Now. I am a business and executive coach, and I started my education at DeVry. I'm sure many of you are familiar with DeVry, maybe have gone there. I started out in engineering, and it was absolutely exciting and wonderful for me, even though I was the only girl in the school. But let me tell you, it wasn't a difficult situation. Every young man in that school cared about my success and cared about me being there. So it was an absolutely awesome experience, and by the way, it did prepare me well for a career in technology where I would be surrounded mostly by men. I'm so glad that's changing, and we want to do everything we can to continue to change that and move it forward. Now, when I decided that it was computer science and not engineering for me, I moved to ASU and I took computer courses, but I have to be honest, back then, there wasn't a degree in computer programming. So they were classes that led to a certificate and that gave me the opportunity then later on in life to finish my degree and to get my master's in international management from Thunderbird, which is an absolutely awesome school when you're in an international profession. And being a senior leader at American Express in technologies, everything was international. I was responsible for global implementation of our systems and an incredible learning experience about the world and about people, and certainly about leadership and even leading remotely. I am an IEEE member. I love the organization. Any of you who haven't joined IEEE yet, it is amazing for growth, for relationships, for professional development. When I retired from American Express at the end of 2004, I took about 4 years off, and then I realized how much I loved coaching and mentoring people. I joined an organization and opened the Phoenix branch of Action Coach, which is the largest business coaching firm in the world. We have over 12,000 coaches and, over 1,200 coaches all across the world. So you know what a great learning and growth experience it was. To become a coach with that kind of support, that kind of education, really made a difference in my being able to help people. I decided after about 5 years that really, for me, inspiring leaders, helping them grow, was much more the direction that I should take rather than just growing businesses and growing revenue. So I created Inspired Leaders Now to allow me to do that. So when it comes to mentoring, when it comes to coaching, when it comes to inspiring people and making a difference, that's my passion, and that's what I want to do for you today. To me, volunteering in the community is incredibly important, so you'll hear a couple times where I throw in how to use your leadership skills in the community, because it does make all the difference. My venture this past year was to get into becoming an author. I started just by dipping my toe in the water. I became a part of the book Expert's Wisdom with my expertise on inspiration, and gave me an opportunity to see how awesome it is to write and create and share with others. So I know there'll be more of that. One of the things I want to do as we start is I want to tell you about an amazing leader. Sometimes to have someone in mind as we're thinking about what we should do and what the qualities are is really important. I had the opportunity to work with Grace Hopper, Admiral Grace Hopper. She has always been an incredible leader. She has passed, and the work that she did stays with us. If you're in the computer industry, I have a feeling you know who Grace is, and it would just be amazing to be able to go through the pioneering phases that she did in the computer industry. She has received the highest honors possible, And in fact, a little bit I'm going to talk to you about letting your light shine, and she certainly did let her light shine. And one of the ways they rewarded her is she has a guided missile destroyer named after her. If that isn't the ultimate in honor, I don't know what is. But I want to talk to you about her leadership skills. Quite a few quotes from her that tell us how she felt about leadership. One key one is that you manage things, you lead people. And her concern was that we went overboard on management and we kind of forgot about leadership. So today we're going to bring it all back to leadership, how you can progress through the leadership ranks, what would make a difference in you as a leader, and how you'll make a difference in other people. There's a cute little picture on there that I might have to tell you what it is because it's small, but one of the coins that she termed in the computer industry was a computer bug, and any of us who have been around, we know what those are. But the first one in 1945 literally was a bug. It was a moth that got into the equipment and stopped the computers from processing. So she got it out, taped it on her journal, and shared with all of us the term computer bug. Now I want to comment just a minute on journaling, because this is something that I didn't do, and I want to share with you how important it is. As you go through your growth in business and in life, keeping a journal, and even a gratitude journal, will have so much meaning for you. It allows you to express yourself, and later on when you look back, it is just an amazing thing to have it. And for this one, I speak from experience because I didn't do it. I've started now. I love it. It's wonderful. If there's a piece of advice I could give you about how to keep track of what's going on in your life and what you've done and what you aspire to, I would encourage you to look into journaling. All right, a little bit more along the lines of being a leader. So what does it mean to be a leader? Well, a leader creates a vision of the future. Now, I want you to understand, I don't mean that it has to be a big vision, right? Any task that you undertake, any new project that you take on, any new product that you develop, any activity that you have needs a vision. Sometimes they're small visions, sometimes they're huge visions. But a great leader, no matter what they're doing, creates a vision of the future. They also inspire others to follow that vision. That's the second part. Sometimes it's a vision that you just have to create and do yourself, and in that case, you need to be inspired. You need to inspire yourself. We forget about that sometimes. If it's a bigger vision and it involves other people, it's never going to happen if you don't have the ability to inspire others to follow that vision. And the way that you do that to ensure that the vision is successfully achieved is you take all of those steps that are necessary. We're going to talk about a lot of them. You communicate to people. You empower people. You teach them what they need to know. You show them the way. A leader is a guiding light, and that's how we actually achieve those visions through other people. So let's just take a minute and talk about qualities and traits. I've just listed a couple of them here, and what I'd love for you to do is tell me which quality or trait is the most important in a leader. What do you think? I'm going to give you a minute or two to do that. And there are lots, we're going to talk about lots of other qualities and traits, but these are a few key ones. So take a minute or so and vote on the one that you think is the most important. Well, so far we have an amazing response to communication, good response to honesty and personal accountability. And it looks like it's beginning to spread across the board. But I'll give you a couple more seconds to vote, because this is really important to us as we go through this. We really want to see what you think is the most important, and then we'll talk about how that impacts your growth as a leader, your ability to get into leadership if you're not there yet, and then your effectiveness if you already are a seasoned leader. And I know some of you are still in school, and you have great aspirations. Some of you are just starting your careers, and there's some of you that are very seasoned leaders. And when we talk about these qualities, I'd like you to think about yourself, because at the end I'm going to ask you another question around qualities and traits. So I want you to think about how you feel about these, what's important to you, and then if there are ideas that you can pick up as we go through them, I love it in the questions and answers period if you would tell me a little bit about what you learned and what is important to you. So it looks like we've got a tie. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the polling right now. It looks like we have a tie between vision and inspiration and communication, and those are absolutely key. As well, honesty and personal accountability, we're going to touch on that a little bit more too, and building trust. Now, I want to comment on ones that don't have as much interaction, and that's developing relationships. So when we get to the developing relationships piece, I'm going to share with you why that is so important, not only to others, but to your success. And continuous learning, you know, sometimes we don't put that down as most important because those of us in the engineering and technology arena, we just believe in continuous learning. So I don't usually see that one come up all that often. So if you take a look at the results on here, we've got 33% communication and vision, and 22% honesty, and 11% building trust. And again, that's just the most important ones. I know that you know that all of them are important, so let's just start discussing them. So the number one way to grow in leadership or to be an effective leader is to really have a leadership mindset. So I'm going to ask you, in order to be the leader, how are you showing up? Are you showing up as someone who goes the extra distance, who works with others, who shares ideas? Or are you the one who shows up and just does your job? Because that's not enough to be a great leader. That's not enough to inspire others. So how are you showing up? That's a question for you to think about a little bit. And do you tell yourself that you're the leader? Do you stand in front of the mirror in the morning and say, I am a great leader. I make a difference to all the people that I interact with. I change lives because I am a leader. If you're not doing that every morning, you need to be doing that. That's visioning for yourself and inspiration for yourself. So tell yourself you're the leader. And as situations come up, whether it's at work, at home, or in the community, think about, what would a leader do? How might I behave differently? Because what you want is people to see you as a leader so that you become a leader, right? Okay, do you believe that you're the leader and act like one? So when you look at how you're showing up, when you talk to yourself about being a leader, then you will believe it and you will begin to act like one. Important part of leadership is being authentic, though. What are your values? Do you know your values? Do you share your values with others, and do you live them? And do you really know who you are and speak from that? So don't be everything to everyone. Be the authentic you. That's why people will follow you. All right, a little bit about learning something new every day. Remember I talked about continuous learning, and it doesn't come up high anytime I do the ratings, because I said I'm generally speaking to people in technology and engineering and the sciences. I'm generally speaking to people who their whole life is learning continuously. But I want to point it out, a few things about it, because it's important for the people around us and the people who work for us too. So leaders are lifelong learners. And to teach others, you have to stay on top of changes. You have to stay on top of new ideas. You can't help them grow, and you can't help yourself grow if you aren't doing that. It's really important, too, to grow in your industry and also in your leadership skills. You know, something I find with great leaders, they're the ones that think they need feedback. They're the ones that can't wait to hear how they're doing as a leader and then act on it. The ones who don't think that they need any guidance, they're generally not the best leaders. So ask for feedback, and ask for feedback not just from the people that you know love you, but ask for feedback from everyone around you. And an important part of learning something new every day is to identify resources and then share them with others. So that's a little bit different than just staying on top of changes. This means if there are websites, if there are books, if there are white papers that will make a difference for people, find them, read them, and then share them with others. It's a great opportunity for you to help others grow. All right, building relationships. This is the one that doesn't come up highest in the rating, and yet it's one of the most important attributes of a leader. So leaders build and maintain. Notice that word maintain, strong relationships. It's not just a matter of creating the relationship, it's actually working on it and building it. So it's important to understand that from the time we're born until the end of our lives, others shape our lives and our destinies. they shape them in positive and negative ways. We always want to be in control. We want to be the one that is making the difference, but you can't deny that relationships really have a strong effect. In fact, we can't be everything that we want to be, everything that we were destined to be, without significant people in our lives. And so be sure that when you're working with others, you get and give support and inspiration. And before we even go any further with this, I want to share with you one of the things that I do. Remember I said that it's important that the people, that significant people are around us. It's important that we only allow people to influence us, to be in our inner circle when they have strong values, they're there to support us, they believe in us, and even more importantly, they will tell us when we're going down the wrong track. One of the things that I used started with going to an event that I really wanted to attend, but it wasn't one of those where you just got a ticket and you could go in. It was one of those where there was a big guy there with a beautiful red rope with gold stanchions, and the rope was closed. And until you met his criteria, you didn't get into that event. And I really, really wanted to go. The greatest feeling was when he reached down, grabbed that gold hook that the rope was attached to, and pulled it back and let me in. And you know, I realized that that's what I need to do with people in my life. If I'm going to have someone in my inner circle, if I'm going to have someone who influences me, if I'm going to have someone that I look to for guidance and support, I want to make sure that they met my criteria. So I have a red rope, and you should have one too. Let it be a guiding light in building your relationships. Now, we have to build relationships with all kinds of people. It's all important. But I'm really talking about those ones that make a difference and that influence, that you allow to influence you. So a couple things when you're working with people that you're building relationships with. And that is to step in without being asked. So you know, we all do nice things. Someone's having a tough time or there's some difficulties in their life, and we say, you know, I'll do anything for you. Just let me know. Tell me what I can do to make a difference. And then when they say, no, I'm okay, it's all right, we just kind of let it go there. Don't do that. Step in without being asked. Find out what would make the biggest difference to them. How can you help change their lives? How can you comfort them? How can you make things better for them? Figure that out based on what you know, and then step in and do it. Because we're all going to say, no, I'm okay, it's all right, and it's not. We all need each other's help. And then it's very similar in answering questions. So someone might ask you a simple question. They might even ask you how you got where you are. How did you develop those leadership traits? And it's very easy for us to just kind of brush it off and, oh, yeah, they're just being nice to me. And, you know, you give them some easy answer. Well, I had a lot of luck. And, you know, really, they might be saying to you, I admire you, and I want to do what you've done. So think about what they're really asking for, what they really need, and how you can really help them. And then answer the question that they didn't ask, but you know that they wanted to. That's incredibly effective in building strong relationships and in helping people too. A really difficult one for me as I prepared this was realizing when you made a mistake in a relationship. I pride myself on being personally accountable. I think that I really go the extra distance and do what I say I will do. But as I was thinking about this, I uncovered a couple of relationship problems that I've never dealt with. One of them is something that I did and said that should have been addressed a long time ago. The other one is something that I didn't do that I should have done. What I realized is that personal accountability enters into relationships in stepping up when you make a mistake, in correcting it, in rebuilding that relationship. So I'll just be honest with you. I have two that I have to tackle. I am terrified to do it. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I laid down a plan, and it's about to go into action. So I would say to you, when we finish this today, spend a little bit of time thinking about your relationships. Spend a little bit of time looking in to see if there's one or two that could be better, that should be better, that you're willing to tackle. It's, again, a really important part of building relationships and maintaining them. And then always give more than than you receive. We know this, we say it in so many ways, but it's so true. You have to give in order to receive, and you will always receive more than you give. So it's a very important part of our relationships. And then one that we sometimes don't think of is valuing the message by valuing the messenger. So sometimes someone will tell me something, and I think, they don't know. They haven't been where I've been. They don't have the experience I've had. Why would I listen to them? I devalued the messenger inappropriately, and therefore I devalued the message. When you can put that aside, you will learn things that you never thought you'd learn. You'll hear about experiences you never thought you'd hear about. So be sure that you don't devalue any messengers who have information for you, ideas for you. Value that messenger, and you will value their message. All right, another area, leader qualities. Now, we did a little voting on these, so let's look at a couple in addition to the ones that were on there. What makes you a strong leader? This is kind of the C's in this. So communication, and you all recognize that. Communication is absolutely important. What I want to share with you about communication is sometimes we have a vision or an idea and we communicate that, and then we stop and we think everything magical is going to happen. Communication has to go from the vision all the way down to the task level, making sure that you have shared with people how they make the vision come true, what learning it takes. Be sure you share with them how they can make a difference in everything that you're doing. So communication all the way through is absolutely important. Confidence. We love to be around people who are confident. Not too cocky, just confident. But that quiet confidence really makes people feel comfortable. It makes them feel safe. It makes them want to be around you. So having confidence, and we get that by learning. We get that by making mistakes. We get that by trusting people and trusting ourselves. So having confidence is a real key leader quality. But there's a step above confidence, and that step is commitment and conviction. So when you are confident and you believe in what you're doing, then your conviction is much stronger. Your ability to get things done, your ability to make a difference, your ability to influence people, all of those come from standing by your convictions and really going out and making a difference. So that's that step above confidence. Commitment falls into that, doesn't it? You have to lead by example. If you aren't committed to what you're doing, it won't matter that you have confidence and conviction. You need to be committed. You need to do what needs to get done. You need to help other people get done what they need to do. Creativity is especially important too. As a leader, we are there to remove obstacles and roadblocks. We're not there to look good because someone else did something. We are there to remove every obstacle, every roadblock, gather every piece of information that will help all of the people around us achieve what they need. That takes creativity. That takes new ideas. That takes sparks that set off fires of creativity in others. So absolutely important leader quality. We talked a lot about continuous learning. I just want to reinforce it. It's just so important. Collaboration is also key. Now I want to expand the definition of collaboration because sometimes we think that's just getting along with somebody and doing a few things for them. But really it's about partnership and it's about stewardship. One of my first global projects, it was new and different to me to work with people around the globe. I did not have relationships built. I was working on my master's in international business, which is awesome, but sometimes I kind of got the cart before the horse. I would go to a country and learn something and interact, and then I would come back the next week, and that would be what we learned about that country, and I would find all the things that I had done wrong. But that's what we need to know when we're dealing internationally, but it's what we need to know when we're dealing locally too. How do we partner with people? And how do we be good stewards of our resources, our partnerships, our money? So time, team, and money is all important around stewardship of resources. So collaboration doesn't just mean talking to someone once in a while or interacting with them. It means truly being their partner. My counterpart in England was the most perfect example of collaboration. We had an 8-hour time difference. So as we were leaving for the day, they were coming in. Obviously, we switched our hours a little bit to overlap. But I can tell you that anytime we had a problem, anytime there was something we couldn't solve and we needed help, when they came in, they were there to do it. If that meant having to cover for us a little bit, they'd do that too. But really, it was all about fixing the problems, helping us with communication, and we did the same thing for them. It was a true partnership, and we collaborated on almost everything we did. The success was amazing. In fact, people around us who didn't have that same attitude, they didn't understand why we worked so well together. They didn't understand why we took care of each other, because their partnership wasn't there. So that's key in everything that you do, is collaboration. Some other leadership traits that are equally important, and they support leadership. One of them is honesty, and that came up in our polling too as being very important. Honesty and transparency. You know, you hear the words all the time, and we don't always see anything that backs it up. So as a leader, being honest and helping people understand what's going on and why it's going on to the best of your ability is absolutely key. Now, whether you have a leader or you are the top leader, you know how hard it is to tell everything that you would like to tell. That doesn't mean that you can't be transparent in what's going on and that you're trying to work through it or that there are issues. So it doesn't mean that you have to tell everything, because sometimes you just can't. But what you do tell needs to be honest, and what you share needs to be transparent. So the next one on here is delegation with empowerment. Now, we have two sides to this coin too. Some of us don't want to delegate anything. Why would we do that? I can get it done so much faster myself. I don't need someone else to do it. It would be faster if I just did it. And that's not the best way to go. Occasionally we have to do that, but really what you want to do is teach others to do things, help them to be successful. Take that load off of you unless it's your greatest strength, and then you should keep doing it. But don't ever delegate without empowerment. Let people do things from the beginning to the end. Don't step in and tell them your way to do it, because their way might be better than yours. That's a little hard for us to understand and swallow sometimes, but actually their way might be better than ours. So delegate with empowerment, but also put those safeguards in place that prevent failures. We're going to talk about failures in a minute. There will be some, but put the safeguards in place so that people are protected when they are delegated to and when they're empowered. Just make sure that you're staying on top of what's happening. So if you do need to step in, you can. Personal accountability, I touched on that one already. I touched on it in the relationships, but it's true in everything. Keep your promises. Do what you say you'll do. Some mornings you wake up and you just don't want to face the world. You just don't want to go to that meeting. You just don't want to take that step that you told someone you would take, but you have to, because it's all about you being personally accountable to people and leading by example so that they're personally accountable to you. Being flexible in decision making, that's also key too, but don't do that without managed risks. I want to tell you a flexibility story that this really is around communication. So the way I communicate when it comes to decision making is I love to throw my ideas out there, and I'm open to discussion. I want you to tell me what you think. I want you to bring new information. I might change my mind a couple of times. I might get away from what I originally decided, but that's how I make decisions. My husband, on the other hand, typical engineering decisions, he's done all the research, he has all the facts, he's got the right answer, and he's made a decision. And generally, with him, it is the right decision. But I didn't realize that, so what did I think? I just thought he was stubborn, right? I didn't understand that I had to bring new information to him, that I had to definitely create new ideas or new results to change his mind. So that really, really helped me to have better conversations with him. Now, of course, I had to share with him about me because he just thought I was wishy-washy, but the truth is that that is how I make my decisions. So being flexible in your decision making, but also understanding how people make decisions and how you have to influence them if you want to change their decision, or how they have to influence you if they want to change your decision, is absolutely critical. And then see opportunities everywhere. Look around for what's out there and how you can make a difference. And then seek feedback. Seek feedback about yourself. We touched on that a little bit before. But also ask about the processes that are going on around you. Ask how people could help you grow and help your business grow, help your department grow, Help that new product that you're designing grow. So ask for feedback, receive it, and then use it and share it with others. It's an incredible leadership trait. And take action. Don't wait for permission. Sometimes. You know, there's always a caveat in there, right? Sometimes you need to be a little bit careful, but we tend to do all the research, find the right idea, and then not move forward with it. So take action when it's appropriate, when you've done your homework, when you know that it's the right direction to go. We miss so many opportunities because we don't take action. And break out of your comfort zone. This is also what holds us back. It holds us back as leaders. It's so easy to get into that comfort rut, right? Okay, everything is good. I'm doing a good job. Everybody likes me. Life is good. Don't stay there. Break out of your comfort zone. Come up with new ideas. Come up with adventures. Find great new things to create and implement. And then I want to touch just a minute for the women that are on there and for the amazing men that have joined us too. There are some specific qualities that women have when it comes to leadership. One of those qualities is to be a deep listener. We tend to pay attention, but we do have to still work on it. You have to really hear what people are saying. You have to be present. So many times we're so busy coming up with the answer or the next statement to someone that we're talking to or working with that we don't actually listen to what they say. So be present and listen to what they have to say. And then trust your inner voice. A lot of times as women, we're told not to count on our intuition, or sometimes even laughed at as we, as we use our intuition. It's your leadership compass. Use it. Use it thoughtfully. Use it intelligently, but don't push it aside. It's really important. And I talked to you before about Grace Hopper and letting her light shine. You know, what she went through in working on the first computer, in being a co-developer of the COBOL language, was so amazing, and I'm sure there were adversarial moments too. She was told that computers were for arithmetic and that was it. When she worked with others to develop COBOL, to create a language that actually would allow computers to process more than arithmetic, there was a lot of pushback. There was a lack of understanding of where this could really go. And she persevered through it. She let her light shine. And that's what we all need to do too, especially when we come up with something new, we try something different, or we get a lot of pushback. Absolutely critical. I have a favorite mentor, Sandra Yancey from the eWomen Network. One of the things that Sandra talks to us all the time about is lift as you climb and celebrate other women. And I'm going to be honest about this. In the past, I know it's changing, but it's got to change even more. In the past, women have not been as supportive of other women as they could be. A lot of that comes from the competition in our corporate world, even in the business owner world. There's a lot of competition, and it's very difficult to think of ourselves as sisters that can help each other, people that we can bring along with us as we climb up the ladder, who will be dedicated to what we're doing forever, and then to celebrate them. So please make a conscious effort to look around in your industry, in your business, in your corporation. Find women who genuinely want to do more and make a difference. Align with them, celebrate them, and take them along with you. And that's part of inspiring others, isn't it? That's how we inspire others. We help them to see how they can make a difference, to see what the impact is of what they're doing, and help them to move forward. And then, of course, as we've mentioned before, give back. Give back and you will receive so much more than you ever give. And celebrate. I'm going to tell you honestly, as a business and executive coach, the number one thing that I work with people on is celebrating accomplishments, because they just don't do it. Celebrate yourself, celebrate others. Go out and look for reasons to celebrate what people have done, to share how awesome they are, to share what a difference they've made. It's an absolutely critical part of being a great leader. So celebrate the achievements. And one of the things I want to talk about is being a leader of leaders. Now, you might not have heard this concept. It's core to me. I'm passionate about it. Treat other people as leaders and expect leadership from everyone. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter how small the task is. Now, I'm not talking about treating someone as a leader who will then step out and try to take over everything. I'm talking about people leading in their realm of responsibility and stretching a little bit, getting out of their comfort zone, but being a leader in everything that you do. And the way that you do that is to think like a leader. No matter what the task is, no matter what the challenge is, no matter how simple it is, think like a leader would think. And then treat others like that so that they think the same way. So just a question for you, what would you do if you were the leader instead of just doing your job and being the team member? So if you had a task at hand and you did it, you could feel satisfied with that. But what if you thought about the impact on others? What if you thought about what difference it would make if you did something better or you made a mistake? I want to give you an example of a system in New York that I transferred for American Express. This woman had done this job, I don't know how many years, many, many years, and I was anxious. I was inspired. I wanted to learn everything about it so we could move it to Phoenix. And so I started asking her questions, and I cared about where the information that she worked on came from and why it was important. And so I said, where does this information come from? And she told me, the woman with the red hair puts it in my inbox. Now I was a little deflated, and I was a little devastated, but I thought, okay, but she knows what happens afterwards. She must know what happens if she makes a mistake or forgets something. So I said, okay, well, let's talk about the other end. You know, the work that you do, the information that you add, what happens to that? And she said, the guy around the corner takes it out of my outbox. Now, you know, I laugh about that, but it is not funny at all. Too many of us do our jobs just that way. So what difference would it make if you actually knew what happened before your activities and after your activities, and you found ways to partner with people and make a difference in their work? I think you would find that you were being a leader and helping them to become leaders. So you need to think like an owner. And you need to embrace the challenge of ownership. You need to encourage others to do the same thing. And I want to talk just a second about servant leadership, because what that means to me is I'm asking, what can I do to help? Remember earlier I said that my job as a leader is to clear the roadblocks, clear the path, get learning. My job is not to look good because someone else did a great job. I want them to do a great job, and yeah, I probably will look good, but that's not my role. My role is a servant leader. It's to say, what can I do for you? And the main reason is because I'm a better leader when I do that. I behave differently. I accomplish more. So servant leadership is absolutely key. And then grow yourself and grow your team. All of the things that we've been talking about all lead to that. It's also important that you believe in people, that you trust your team. Your team has a lot more to offer than you realize. And I'm going to give you a little secret here. Sometimes the way we find out what they have to offer is to talk to them about what they do outside of work. It's amazing. They reveal skills. They tell you about things that inspire them, things that you can use, knowledge that you can use to get them in the right position, because we all should be working from a position of strength, right? When you build your team as a leader, build it around people's strengths, not just everything that has to be done. Find out who's good at what, put them in charge of it, and then hire the holes that you might have in there to cover the other things that need to get done. That is the most effective way to build a team, is to people's strengths. They will be happy, they will work harder, and they will deliver more, and you will have a better life. So it's really important that you find out about people's skills and inspiration, and you can help with that by understanding some of the things they do outside of work. It helps you find their hidden talents. It's also important, as we talked about, to empower people. But remember I talked to you about trusting them, that's letting them have it from beginning to end, and also verifying what's going on, checking on things. Don't wait till the last minute to find out that something has gone wrong. Put your checkpoints in place so that you monitor what's happening. And then just a couple of extra tips. And we're going to wrap up with some questions. You know, you don't need to know the answer to everything. Sometimes, especially when you're newly promoted, you think you have to know everything or people won't know enough, won't think enough of you, and that's just not true. You really don't have to know every answer, but you do have to know how to get every answer or to find someone who has it or to sit down with the team and say, I have no idea, but let's come up with an answer. So those are much better than faking your way through, letting people think you know every answer. So analyze everything you do first, and then act on it. Don't just jump into things without analyzing. Be quick to give positive feedback. Encourage people. Tell them when they've done something good. Be a little bit slower to criticize. It's certainly important to provide constructive criticism when someone needs to grow, but honestly, sometimes they just do it differently and there's really nothing wrong with it. So be a little slow to criticize and think about it before you do that. Embrace failure. You know, everyone says that if you don't fail, you aren't trying hard enough. So that tells us that there's going to be some failures in there. Use the failures to learn, to grow, to help others. And then when you're building a team, hire for values and potentials. That's your head and your heart. What do you know? What do you believe in? What are your values? And especially, what is someone's potential? A reason to fire is negligence. People didn't do their job. They didn't treat other people right. They bring down the organization. So hire for that head and heart. You can always teach the skills. That's the hands. And don't be afraid to move people out when they're negligent or not caring for others. And have a mentor. Having a mentor helps you grow. Being a mentor helps you grow even more. I have always learned more from my mentees than I have from my mentors, and that's saying a lot because I've had a lot of amazing mentors. Absolutely amazing. Share good ideas. Again, it used to be that knowledge was power. Sharing knowledge now is power. So when you have a good idea, someone else has a good idea, talk about it, share it, make it happen. And then facilitate versus communicate. So I've talked to you about communicating and how important it is, but it's even more important that you facilitate discussions, that you don't just tell people things, but you bring them in and involve them. And that goes hand in hand with nurturing growth versus giving information. So don't just tell, don't just give information. Really facilitate conversations and nurture growth in people, nurture growth in ideas. And reward creativity and success, not just getting something done. We get paid to get things done and to get them done well. The true rewards should come to us and be given to people when we show creativity, we show success, not just completion of tasks, and certainly not spending extra time to get something done a second time when it could have been done the first time. So those are problems in our workplace sometimes. We want to try to manage those and challenge them even. So we've talked a lot about qualities and traits. So what I would love for you to do is vote again, but differently this time. This time I want you to tell me what is the most important trait of this list, the most important one for you to work on right now. What's the one that maybe you're just okay at, but you haven't really gone the distance to be really good at it? So let's take a minute or two and vote on these. Let me know what it is you think would be great to spend some time on. I'm seeing already a fair amount of developing relationships, building trust, continuous learning. Those are all great things to work on. I'm going to give you another couple minutes, or a couple seconds actually, not a couple minutes. So just do a quick vote so we can see where you stand, and I'll show you the results. Okay, so it's really interesting, isn't it, when we think about what the key leadership traits are, and then we think about what we've been working on. Some of them are so common and so well known that we work on them all the time. But developing relationships is really an important one for us to believe and understand its importance in being a leader. So it's awesome to see 50% of you want to work more on developing relationships. Let me just add a really quick side thing, and we're going to go to some questions. Really quick side thing about developing relationships. I will tell you in my growth at American Express, the relationships that I developed in my early days, and they came from all over the place. They came from working with people. They came from spending time outside of work with people. They came from getting involved in community activities at the office. Those relationships served me my entire career. So I love it that you want to work more on developing relationships. Also building trust and the continuous learning. I think you're all good learners, but maybe you can tweak that a little bit with learning more about leadership skills, learning more about people, learning more about how to inspire others and really make a difference. And certainly communication is always an area for growth. So thank you very much for sharing the things that you're going to work on, and let's talk about those in the questions and answers when we have a chance. So I just want to tell you to believe in yourself. If you're that little kitten and you're just getting started, you have so much potential. You have the potential to be that tiger. Some of you that are listening today, you're already the tiger. You're out there making a difference, but you can do more too. So when you look in the mirror, regardless of where you are, and it will change over time, over life, you can be the tiger right now, move into something new and kind of feel like a little kitten. So always remember, look in the mirror, see the tiger, realize the incredible potential that you have, and then go out and excel in everything that you do, achieve your goals, achieve your dreams, and help other people achieve theirs, and then inspire others. And it doesn't matter if it's in your business, actually it should be in all three, in your business, in your corporation, in your community, and certainly in your home. Make a difference in the world. You have the potential to do that. So I want to thank you so much for spending time with me. Our time is so valuable. There's nothing more wonderful that you can give to someone than to listen to them, share their ideas, and give them some feedback. So here's question and answer time, and I would love for you all to share some questions with me or some comments. And I'm going to take a look at that. So the first question, thank you so much, is while developing relationships, is there a tip you can provide to remember names? Oh my gosh, you are just not asking the right person, but I still have an idea. This, for me, has been very difficult. What is good for me is that I can remember faces and I can remember where I met people. But the very best way, and I have to work on it all the time, is to repeat their name multiple times. I know that you hear that. That's the most common way to do it. There's some great memory books that you can, and memory programs that you can take that will help you remember names by connecting symbols with the name. But when you use someone's name 2 or 3 times, it stays with you. I'll give you my other great trick, and that's my husband. He is absolutely amazing at it. So anytime he can be by my side, he is the one that remembers all the names and everything, every way that he's ever encountered anyone. So if you've got a good buddy like that, that's helpful too. But I think it's using the name and it's remembering the circumstances and where you met them and embedding that into your next connection with them. So another question about while developing, let's see, how can an introverted person become a person of influence? Oh, this is such a good question. I'm so grateful for this one. Because first I want to make sure that you all know the true difference between introvert and extrovert, right? So an introvert, we think of that as someone who's shy, and it's difficult for them to interact with others. And we think of that extrovert like me that wants to tell you everything, that can't wait to tell you more, can't wait to meet you. But the truth is, the real difference is that an introvert gets their energy back by being alone or with one other person in some quiet time. An extrovert gets their energy back by being around people. So it doesn't need to influence your interaction as a leader. What it needs to influence is when you get tired, when you get stressed, how you get your energy back. So when you know, as an introvert, that you need to go find some quiet time, be in your office, shut the door, go do that. Do that especially before you have to go out and talk to your team, before you have to go out and give a presentation. And when you've done that, get back into that space that will let you get your energy back. So there are amazing speakers, leaders, heads of corporations who are introverts, and you would never know it. And you don't know it because they know how to re-energize and come back out and do all the things that they need to do. So I hope that is helpful for you. Introverts can be awesome people of influence. They can make an amazing difference. They just need their energy. Another question is, how can I show my desire to be a leader if I'm not already in a leadership position? So that's a really good question, because we all start somewhere down below the leadership level, right? So the best way to show your desire is the things we've talked about. Act like a leader. Believe that you're a leader. Do your work, even your everyday work, like you're a leader. I have someone that I worked with that her job was to do an analysis on fraud cases at American Express. And the people around her did that too. And they would go and check a couple of things, and then they would come up with an answer, and they would get back to their supervisor. What she did is she covered everything. I couldn't believe the websites that she looked at, from FedEx to, I don't know, to everything, to try and come up with how this fraud happened, who did it, what they were going to do about it. She didn't just come back with the results. She showed the ownership aspect of leadership. She owned that case, and she made a difference. The supervisor recognized it, and very soon she was teaching people how to do all of this. So she was in a junior position. She was actually the lowest level in her department, and she skyrocketed through all of her career because she acted like a leader. She believed she was a leader. She believed she was an owner. She owned everything that she ever touched. So showing your desire can be verbal. It can be saying, I would like to move into a leadership role. It can be taking on leadership responsibilities. And most important, it should be behaving like a leader, behaving like an owner. People will see it, they will hear you, and opportunities will be there for you. Let's see, there's so I think that those are most of our questions. We're actually at close to our closing time. If you've got another question, go ahead and throw it out there for me. And otherwise, I'm going to do just a minute wrap up here and let you get back to what's important in your life. So what I want to say to you more than anything is it's possible for you to be a leader if that's what you desire in the traditional leadership role. But I want you to remember, you need to be a leader no matter what role you're in. You need to be a leader no matter what you're doing or where you're doing it. These leadership traits, they're important personal traits. They're about values, they're about getting things done, they're about helping others, and they're about making a difference in the world. And you are capable of all of those things. And if there's any way that I can help you, I will be here to do that. So please feel free to contact me, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for your time.